I do have a few thoughts here. We are coming this morning live from Hallmark's international headquarters here in Kansas City. And thank you on the web for joining us this morning. This is going worldwide, right? No, I'd like to thank first my family. We've already introduced my family, I guess. But my wife Susan, we've been married. We just had our 40th anniversary this year. And this year in October, we actually got to go to Hawaii, and our kids sent us to Hawaii for our 40th anniversary. So that was a great trip, and we really appreciate that. I want to thank Jerry Zier. I don't know if Jerry's here yet. I know he's got an MDRB meeting this morning. But Scott and Jean for their leadership and their partnership over the years. Everybody that I've worked with. Dave Roser in the back. I could go around the room. Marcia King. Unbelievable you're here. Some of the people I've worked with years ago, and it's great to see you. I'd like to thank Mary, Penny, Eugetta, Julie, Rhonda, Pat, Eugetta. No, I said Eugetta, but not you, John. And Darren and Martha. For putting this all together. I know they worked a long time. They've got a lot of meetings behind the scenes. They kept going, so I appreciate that. Now I'd like to harken back to 1978. In the fall of 1978, my father had been working at General Motors for over 30 years. I was working at a company as a purchasing agent, and I was not happy there. The company wasn't a reputable company. My father worked for 30 years, and he was trying to get me a job at General Motors. He worked for over 2 years to get me an interview. He finally got me an interview. I went in. It was for a purchasing agent's job, which I really didn't like anyway. I wanted to take something. Interviewed for the job, and they were going to let me know. In the meantime, I got a call from Hallmark in Atlanta. I had applied at Hallmark. I flew down to the regional office in Atlanta. At that time, we had a regional office there. Interviewed for an entire day. 4 people interviewed me. At the end of the day, they made me an offer. And the offer was a sales job, which I'd never been in sales, but I thought I could do it, and I thought it was something I would really like. They offered me a salary of $13,000, which was about $2,000 more than I was making, so I was pretty excited. Over here is Kim. Kim was 2 years old at the time. Eric was 2 months old at the time. And Beth was 5 years away. We owned a house in Cleveland, Ohio, our hometown, and we had a big decision to make. The other thing with Hallmark is you had to go to 90 days of training in Kansas City and in the field, and at the end of the 90 days they tell you where you're going in the country. You don't know ahead of time, and you have to accept the job knowing that. So, I got to the Atlanta airport. First time I was ever on a plane, by the way. I was 29 years old. Got to the Atlanta airport, and I called Sue, and I said, hey, guess what? I got the job. She said, hey, guess what? General Motors called this afternoon, said that they want to make you an offer. I'd been working for a couple years trying to find a new job. All of a sudden, I got 2 in my hand at one time. We stayed up the whole night once I got home, made a list, all the positives and negatives of both jobs. The end of the night, early in the morning, we thought the future, the job itself, everything made sense to come to Hallmark. So we made a joint decision, as we always do. And my father came over to the house, I guess, the next day. And he said, well, I hear you got a job with General Motors. I said, yeah. I said, but I also got an offer from Hallmark. He said, that's a no-brainer. You're going to go with General Motors, right? I I said, no. He said, what? Also, the job at General Motors was about $2,000 more than what Hallmark had.
Oh, my God.
And I explained to him, got out my list, I said, here's all the things that I really feel strongly, we feel strongly, that this is the path we want to take. He looked at me and he says, you're going to take the grandkids away, 90 days of training, you have no idea in the country where you're going, you own a house and Hallmark's not going to help you sell your house, and you're going to take a $2,000 less salary and go with Hallmark. I said, well, yes. It was the best decision that we ever made. And 33 years later, I can proudly say that it was the very best decision we made. And I'm very, very proud to have been a Hallmark. I'd now like to thank the Hall family for their strong beliefs and values. And really, that's one of the things that attracted me up front with the company. They're leading by example. The family's leading by example is unbelievable. Their dedication to employees, to profit sharing, to strong benefits, and a real family environment. I would not be able to retire today if it wasn't for all those things. I've always been proud to be a Hallmarker, and always will be proud to be a Hallmarker. And now Penny, I have asked